Today, I'm going to show you how to prep a masks campaign that your players are going to love. Step 1, steal the entire plot from Batman Court of Owls. Okay, I'm just kidding. The real step 1 is run your first session. Once you've done that, you can start prepping some semblance of a campaign. Wait a minute, aren't you gonna teach us how to prep our first session? So I've got my second mask session with the boys in like literally a little bit over an hour, and I have done zero prep whatsoever. All I have is the notes from the first session and the rule book. I have to make a campaign like right now. It's do or die. I'm gonna stop because I gotta work. So the first thing you wanna do is set up what are called hooks. One of the main gameplay elements of masks is what's called label shifting, aka changing your player's stats. Each label not only has an effect on gameplay, for example, danger making you better at beating up bad guys, but it also affects how your players' characters see themselves. So a character with high danger sees themselves as kind of a threat to society. You know, if your players are good role players. Hooks represent an NPC that tries to influence your players' characters towards a specific label. They help answer the question, is Batman a criminal vigilante or is he the savior of Gotham? That's danger versus savior, by the way. So the first thing you need to do when prepping your hooks is figure out which labels you want to affect the player's characters. So my friend Zach's character Consummate is able to shoot little mini versions of himself out of his hands that can devour like pretty much anything. That's really reckless and dangerous. So I think I want to go with danger for one of the hooks for him. Once you figure out the label that's going to be influenced, you need to figure out the NPC that's going to do the influencing. In the first session, we didn't really look that much at Dick's family life, so I like the idea of his dad being the one who is kind of pressuring him towards being dangerous, but I think it's like unintentional. Now, hooks always come in pairs. They're the metaphorical devil and angel on the shoulder. This ultimately creates drama and tension. I was thinking savior, because you have that dichotomy of, okay, yeah, you're reckless, but you can use your powers to save people. But I kind of like the idea of him seeing himself as better than other people, or at least like an NPC trying to make him see that, hey, you can devour anything, like you are better than a normal person. So I think I'm gonna go danger versus superior, and I think we're gonna see that in the form of Office Max, who is a professional superhero currently and kind of tells Dick like, hey, look man, like you have these powers, you are better than other people. And I think, you know, that'll kind of give us good tension. Now, I know so far I'm only talking about my friend Zach's character, but every character gets a pair of hooks. Now we need to do the hooks for my friend Rice's character, Lilith, aka the Outsider. She's able to transform and she's really hot. So I know what we're gonna do for one of the NPCs. Actually, I know what we're gonna do for both NPCs, which is kind of backwards. You should probably have the label first, but definitely Office Max. Hold up, you used Office Max for Consummate. Exactly. One of the best ways to create drama and tension is to use the same NPC for multiple player characters' hooks. Your game will be way more interesting if Office Max is telling Consummate that he's special and telling Lilith she's boring, rather than Office Max telling Consummate he's special and Lilith's mom telling her she's boring. So now I have to do the arc, and the arc is kind of like the guideline for the overall campaign. It's what a lot of people would call the plot, but obviously you should never have a full-blown plot because you never know what your players are gonna do. Now, the rulebook gives you 5 archetypes you can build your campaign off of: corruption, invasion, restriction, destruction, and restoration. If you have a plot idea that goes beyond one of these, you can of course do it. It's your game, you can do whatever you want. Here's the move. So the move is gonna be an invasion of criminals. There's like a whole backstory to it in this setting, but I think that's the way to go. Once you've figured out what kind of arc you want to do, you need to build out your cast of characters. These are the main antagonists as well as side characters who are also involved in the overall arc. We need like a big bad. I think that's the first thing we should do. So let's go through villain creation. I'll do a full video on this at another time, but we do need to create a villain who's the big bad here. You need to know 3 things to create a villain in masks: what their name is, Galactos, what their powers are, going with the space theme, I think gravity's kind of the move here, and most importantly, what their drive is. So Galactos here wants to subjugate Ballast City. Now, villain drives shouldn't be over the top evil. They should be rooted in some sort of wanting to do good. They see Ballast as this corrupt, just horrible place, which it totally is, and they think that if they get rid of everyone's freedom, they can make it better. As the boomers say, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Oh, dude, I took way too much time. I didn't even realize it's 2:37 right now. I've got, what, 23 minutes? I need to hurry up. Now, a good arc should have 3 or 4 central NPCs. What's Galactos' gang? The spacemen, the astronauts, the black holes. Fuck it. The Zerg. Not all of them have to be villains, but they all have to be associated with the arc somehow. I like the idea of we use a character from Konoha's backstory. I think his nemesis. I think that'd be pretty smart. I think Mikoji wants to displace Galactus. So now we need to fill in the phases. Shit, we have 19 minutes. Arcs and masks are made up of 3 phases. The writers call them setting up the board, making a move, and endgame. In The Dark Knight, the Joker sets up the board by taking over the mob in Gotham. He makes a move when he kidnaps Harvey and Rachel and, spoilers, kills one of them, and his endgame is putting the bombs on the ferries and revealing that Harvey Dent is Two-Face, thus destroying the soul of Gotham. What we need to do here with each phase is set up an action for every single villain to do something for every single phase of kind of the arc. I know that was kind of a lot. We'll start with Galactus because they're the main bad guy driving everything. Galactus needs alien DNA to open a portal. Mikoji's finding out a different way to summon, I think. Okay, I do not have much time left. Fortunately, we've got setting the board, so that's good for the second session. I'm gonna try and see how many of the making the move phases I can kind of write down before time runs out and I have to run this thing. And then we'll find out, hey, if I did a good job. Wait a minute, he didn't actually prep anything for his upcoming session. I didn't even think of anything for the actual session. As I mentioned before, Masks is a player-driven game set in a massive city. It can go in any direction and doesn't require any dungeon delving. So you don't have to prep anything in advance of a session as long as you're good at improv and you have your hooks and arcs in place. However, it does help to have a few set pieces prepped just in case the players don't think of anything. You can always fall back on these and rely on them, throw the players in the scenes and see how they react. That's pretty much the best I can do for prep in an hour. Let's hop on, see how the session goes.
The next day.
I'm whoring your voice out for content. What did you think of the mask session the other day?
Pretty solid. Enjoyed all of the action. Well, one thing that I thought during the session was that your pacing was very still. I really liked that game.
Are you just saying this because I'm recording your voice for YouTube?